What's up, guys? Welcome to episode number one of our vlog.
Welcome.
Welcome. So, welcome.
Welcome.
The Wild Mavericks. Um,
Where are we right now?
we are in the middle of freaking nowhere, Arizona,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, there's not a lot to do out here. I'm bouncing off the walls.
I know you are. So we are in the middle of Arizona. In fact, when we were on the whatever highway, we turned off and went over cattle guards and went a long ways in that direction.
Yeah,
There's nothing around. You went to a Walmart the
it's
other day,
over an hour drive.
but not because, like, I mean, there was like nothing in between. There's like nothing around. And we're so far out in the middle of nowhere, you didn't even have phone service
Mm-mm.
once you went so far away from the park rat.
No, thank goodness for our internet thing called Starlink.
Yeah.
We have internet out here.
So, first vlog, and we're in the middle of Arizona, but we're also in our RV, which means we're living in our RV.
We are living in an RV.
But once upon a time, we had a house with a big yard. We did that whole game. Have a house, get a nicer house, upgrade cars, get nicer house.
We moved houses a lot.
We did, and we can share more about why and what we do for a living on a different episode. But here we are living in an RV.
Why are we living in an RV?
Why are we living in an RV? That's a great question.
And you're going to answer it.
Well, why?
That's what I asked.
Why are we doing this crazy thing? How big was our house? It was a big house.
I think it was like 3,600 square feet.
And how big do you think this RV is?
300. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, we had a big house, we had nice cars, and sold the house, sold our cars, bought a dually truck and this RV, and now we're living in it full time. Why are we doing that?
That is the question.
I think the answer is we don't know,
Yeah.
but layered with other reasonings around that.
I mean, this was an idea that we had a long time ago and we wanted to do.
Like in 2019, we wanted to do this and we were hesitant to pull that trigger. Definitely still living a very traditional life and like going with what you're supposed to, living in a house, doing the normal things, and yet none of it was ever fulfilling. And so yeah, so we sold that house. We sold a house because we lived in a couple between 2019 and we started this journey 2023. I guess there's a lot of reasons that go into that.
Yeah.
What's one of your reasons?
Adventure, doing things that I say I want to do. So we had said this was something we wanted to do, and
Yeah.
whether if we do it and end up hating it or whatever, like we did it.
I think that there's this idea when I, in my perception, there's this idea that you have to have a set amount of time that you're going to live in an RV too. And I feel like even in the RV community, when we're meeting other people, they're like, are you full time? Are you doing this forever? I've been asked this question, like, are you doing this just for a year? Are you doing it forever? And I feel like we're in a really cool space that we get to do it as long as we kind of wish to and as long as we're enjoying it. So whether that's a few months, a few years, we don't really have end game plan.
Yeah. It's funny how many people ask, like,
Mm-hmm.
"So how long are you gonna do that?" I usually say till we get bored with it,
Yeah.
or
And
till it's not fun anymore.
we're very fortunate to have that as our option. Because I know that's not everyone's case, but we are in a place that we get to choose this life. Um, this is a choice, and how long we choose to do this is really up in the air. Um, but yeah, back in 2019, this is something we had wanted to do. Our kids wanted to do this. We have 3 kids, and we didn't. Instead, we got into owning another business, which was a private school we owned in Oklahoma. And that was a wild ride.
And it's probably one of, I would say, one of one of 3 main reasons of why we're doing this. I would
Yeah.
say that because that stripped us from any freedom. Like before, we had homeschooled. I mean, we'd done public schools and other stuff too, but like right before it, we were homeschooling, and so we had this freedom where if we wanted to go to Disney World or whatever, we would go when everyone else is in school, so it's not as busy. Um, we could just travel whenever we wanted to. We could just had so much freedom, stripped away our freedom where we had to travel around
Completely.
breaks. And also, like, to anyone who's a teacher or principal or anything in a school, like, like dealing with parents is so tough.
So hard.
And so that was super stressful on Brooke, which ended up, being stressful on me too. So that's probably a big one. The second one was there's a couple of deaths in the family at
Yeah.
some young ages. And then
Yeah.
the third one, again, because it was something we said we wanted to do. And
Yeah.
if we sit here and say we want to do something and then never do it, then you might end up with regrets. And
Yeah. So owning a school, to touch on, was extremely wild. It was a lot of fun and very lonely, very hard. It's interesting when people find out that we owned a school, they're just kind of like, wow, because not many people can say they've done that, but they also have a lot of questions. And the truth is, that was one of the hardest times of my life. Um, it was brutal. And we could maybe get into that on a different time, but that was really, really hard. Um, I think I cried, I mean, multiple times a month.
it was definitely a struggle. I can look back at pictures of myself. And I wasn't even in the day to day. Like it came down, from Brooke, or I dealt with the back end some, and I was there some, but like in that 3 years that we
Mm-hmm.
had it, like I aged. Like I can look
Yeah.
see myself in pictures. Like it aged me. It's crazy how stressful it was on us.
I know I was started struggling a lot with my health in that I
Mm.
was starting to have a lot of like uh, symptoms from living with high stress, high anxiety. I started losing my hair, um, and I would have like stomach pain, chest pain all the time. It's funny because we haven't really shared a lot of why we left the school, why we chose to step away, but that was a really hard time. Um, and a lot went into that decision making. We also tried our best to set that school up for success. So even though
Mm-hmm.
we chose to leave that chapter of our life, we really did ensure to the best of our ability that those families were taken care of by another school owner, taking on our school.
Yep.
So that leaving that school, that was one of the best decisions we could have made for our health, especially I would say my health. I was really not mentally well through that era.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we had several deaths in our family. I mean, both Jimmy's parents have passed now. My aunt has passed, my grandma has passed. And some of those were really, really young deaths. And so it really, when you start losing people who are close to you and they pass at an early age, it really kind of puts you at a point where you're examining what are your values and what are you doing with your life, and are the things that you're doing now worth it if I only had another 20 years to live. Is this path I'm going on, is this worth my time? Is this worth my kids' time? So starting to question everything. And then, yeah, it's something we said we were going to do, and yet we just didn't do it. From 2019, which isn't that long in the grand scheme of life, but it feels like a long time, having decided we wanted to do that and not follow through. So in 2023, we made it our reality. We moved to Greece for 3 months, did that, and settled into our RV. And now we're traveling full time, with our home base being in Oklahoma.
Yeah, so it's actually almost, what is today? Oh my gosh, it's like right at 7 months
Since we
since we
sold,
moved out of our house
wow,
into an RV. And then we were in the RV for,
like 2 or 3 weeks.
no, it was like a month or two before. No, a month.
Well,
I think,
we were traveling because the kids were at camp.
sure.
Our kids were at camp for a month, so we
But
went on a solo trip.
but we've been out of our house for 7 months, and then traveling in the RV, and then we went to Greece for 3 months, which was a blast, and then um, now we've been in the RV for about 2 months since getting back from Greece.
That's crazy. So far, we've made it through how many states in 2 months? We did Arizona, because that's where we said we are right now.
But we don't count a state unless if we like stay there for a
Stay,
couple days
yeah,
and do an activity there. Just passing through doesn't count.
does not count.
We've
Cannot
done
just stay the night.
Arizona, California, New Mexico, obviously Oklahoma.
Okay.
Four. I think that's it.
And I would say, uh, when people learn that we're living now full time in an RV, well, we just went to a real estate event, and I feel like we got asked like a lot about that. Um, a lot of people are kind of like, okay, wow, that's an interesting decision, but it hasn't been easy, and it hasn't been terrible. It's been an interesting go in the beginning of living in an RV. Um, First of all, finding the RV that you want to live in. I mean, I love the RV we're in now, but it's really hard to know what you're going to want until you're actually living in an RV.
Mm-hmm.
So while I don't regret the RV that we have, I love this RV. Um,
There is another one.
there is a different one that we should have bought. There's a different one, and we looked at it, and we chose not to because we couldn't agree on a couple things with it. But we're in this one. It's a great one. We love it. But starting off, I feel like there's so much information out there about full-time or even part-time living in an RV, what you need, what you don't need, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. We try to do a lot of research before we began this journey. And I mean a lot of research. I can't even tell you how many hours we've probably spent watching YouTube about different families who full-time. That was important for us to find families who do this because we also are a family of 5. We have 3 kids, 13, 11, and 9. So knowing that there's other families who are doing this kind of thing was really important to us. Mm-hmm. We found those kinds of families on YouTube. We watched what they were doing. We watched what they're not doing. What kind of rig do they live in? What kind of vehicle do they have? Countless hours searching online, and then lots of time on social media searching also for different people choosing this lifestyle, different families. And yeah, I think it's misleading a little bit. Some of these people who've been doing it for a while, they have it figured out. And when you're just getting started, there's a lot of things you're having to navigate.
Yeah, like bouncing off the walls because I am used to being busy.
Yes.
And which like it's super slow, but I almost find myself, at least when I sit down at the computer, I find myself working for longer because there's no commute. And then like you're just here in front of the computer and there's not like a whole lot of distractions other than the family. That sometimes I feel like I'll even work more or get more done maybe like here.
I'm going to remember that
But
because you're always saying you have so much work to do.
Because there's always something to do. But lost track of thought. There's still a lot of downtime, which it's not really something you see on YouTube, right? And so getting used to the
Mm-hmm.
slower pace of life, downtime, um, and then we came out to the West Coast, the West Southwest, thinking we're chasing the weather. And this year has been cold, which not just Southwest. I feel like the whole U.S. has been kind of
Yeah.
cold this year, but like it's colder. I feel like than normal in the Southwest this year, and so um, there's been a lot of good days too. But there's a lot of days that rainy days or cold days or super windy.
Sandstorm.
Oh my gosh,
Sandstorms.
we
We've
got
been in a couple of
in a
those.
sandstorm in Palm Springs. Still finding sand in the truck and
Sand.
RV.
Oh my gosh, there's so much
Um,
sand. Um, yeah, downtime is a big one, and not just for us. You are used to being busy. I very much am valuing and appreciating this downtime. I do get a little stir crazy sometimes, but coming out of a season that was so stressful, it was literally making me unwell and needing to go to the doctor. Um, I am very much loving this little bit slower pace. We started the school for our kids and we walked away for our health, but also I find that I'm more present with our kids than I was before. And so um, I am personally loving the slower lifestyle. You are struggling. You're a busybody.
I am struggling. Like I want stuff to do.
Yeah.
Like looking for something to do. So it's hard for me to sit still.
And then the random things that happen with your rig has been a challenge. I mean, something I have not ever heard anyone really talk about on any of the research we did is how often you have to sweep or vacuum. I had no idea, but that's minimal compared to some of the other things. We have had some issues with our toilets. We had our fridge completely break. It's a brand new fridge.
It's still broken.
It's still broken. Um, just different, I don't know, just different random things that it just requires a new skill set, a new level of patience, and I don't know what else it requires. It's definitely different. It's not like you just go to Home Depot and fix your house or have a contractor come fix something. There's a different pace to that.
So living in an RV.
Yes,
What's the plan?
we don't
You
know.
don't know.
We don't know. And that's what's also really cool. I actually get kind of excited when I don't know what the plan is. Because one, I know everything's going to be okay. Our house is on wheels, so we get to go wherever. Nowhere is permanent. We actually stayed in a hotel for an event we were at for a few days. And then because our RV was in the shop for the fridge, which is not fixed yet, we stayed in an Airbnb and I was actually not feeling well, but I was getting like antsy being there. I wanted to be in my home, which is this RV. Um, but I like the unknown a little bit. I know you're more of a planner. I'm maybe not as much. I kind of like enjoy this. What are we doing? We don't know. Um, he wants to take flight lessons, and I'm like, we'll just hang out in this area for however long.
Not in this area,
No,
but
not this area. There's literally
it's
nothing around here.
close to here. But yeah,
Um,
Yuma.
however, we might trek up north as soon as it starts to warm up along the northern coast or along the west coast. We might go up the north and
Which is still a couple months away from it
still a couple
warming
months
up.
away. However, I think we had it in our mind like, oh, by springtime in Oklahoma, it'll start being warm. And I don't think that's going to happen. So, our current plan is to head up the west coast, up north, travel that, um, hook over, heading east to uh, through Yellowstone, Mount Rushmore, down.
Maybe back over to like Colorado,
Yeah,
Utah. Yeah,
maybe.
we don't know.
We don't know. We don't
We
know what
may
our
end up
plan is.
just going to Florida tomorrow. Who knows?
That's what's so cool. See now, like honestly, when I think of like, hey, you know what? Screw it. Let's just head in a different direction. I would be the one to say, what? What would I say to that if you said that? Like, hey, let's just go.
Okay.
I would say, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So
So, anyways, um, yeah, that's it. That's why.
I
That's
think
how we got here.
the why goes deeper. Maybe we save more with what we're doing, how we're doing this life, um, maybe about our background with owning a school and why we choose homeschool, what resources we have, what you do for work. There's so much more.
Cool. So we will continue with the videos. So make sure you follow along. You can find us on Instagram at The Wild Mavericks. Follow our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.